Prestine of Prestine's mansion in Central Park was ablaze for the new year. Charming antique electric bulbs with zigzag filaments and pointed tips shed yellow light. The jaunt-proof maze had been removed and the great door was open for the special occasion. The interior of the house was protected from the gaze of the crowd outside by a jeweled screen just inside the door. The sightseers buzzed and exclaimed as the famous and near-famous of clan and sept arrived by car, by coach, by litter, by every form of luxurious transportation. Prestine of Prestine himself stood before the door, iron-gray, handsome, smiling his basilisk smile, and welcomed society in his open house. Hardly had a celebrity stepped through the door and disappeared behind the screen when another, even more famous, came clattering up in a vehicle even more fabulous. The Kolas arrived in a band wagon. The Esso family, 6 sons, 3 daughters, was magnificent in a glass-topped Greyhound bus. But Greyhound arrived in an Edison electric runabout, hard on their heels, and there was much laughter and chafing at the door. But when Edison of Westinghouse dismounted from his Esso-fueled gasoline buggy, completing the circle, the laughter on the steps turned into a roar. Just as the crowd of guests turned to enter Prestine's home, a distant commotion attracted their attention. It was a rumble, a fierce chatter of pneumatic punches, and an outrageous metallic bellowing. It approached rapidly. The outer fringe of sightseers opened a broad lane. A heavy truck rumbled down the lane. 6 men were tumbling balks of timber out the back of the truck. Following them came a crew of 20, arranging the balks neatly in rows. Prestine and his guests watched with amazement. A giant machine, bellowing and pounding, approaching, crawling over the ties. Behind it were deposited parallel rails of welded steel. Crews with sledges and pneumatic punches spiked the rails to the timber ties. The track was laid to Prestine's door in a sweeping arc and then curved away. The bellowing engine and crews disappeared into the darkness. "Good God!" Prestine was distinctly heard to say. Guests poured out of the house to watch. A shrill whistle sounded in the distance. Down the track came a man on a white horse carrying a large red flag. Behind him panted a steam locomotive drawing a single observation car. The train stopped before Prestine's door. A conductor swung down from the car, followed by a Pullman porter. The porter arranged steps. A lady and gentleman in evening clothes descended. "Shan't be long," the gentleman told the conductor. "Come back for me in an hour." "Good God!" Prestine exclaimed again. The train pulled off. The couple mounted the steps. "Good evening, Prestine," the gentleman said. "Terribly sorry about that horse messing up your grounds, but the old New York franchise still insists on the red flag in front of trains." 4 Mile! The guests shouted. 4 Mile of Ceres! The sightseers cheered. Prestine's party was now an assured success. Inside the vast velvet and plush reception hall, Prestine examined 4 Mile curiously. Foyle endured the keen iron-gray gaze with equanimity, meanwhile nodding and smiling to the enthusiastic admirers he had acquired from Canberra to New York. "Control," he thought. "Blood, bowels, and brains. He grilled me in his office for 1 hour after that crazy attempt I made on Vorga. Will he recognize me?" "Your face, perhaps, Prestine," 4 Mile said. "Have we met before?" "I have not had the honor of meeting a 4 Mile until tonight," Prestine answered ambiguously. Foyle had trained himself to read men, but Prestine's hard, handsome face was inscrutable. Standing face to face, the one detached and compelled, the other reserved and indomitable. They looked like a pair of brazen statues at white heat on the verge of running molten. "I'm told that you boast of being an upstart, 4 Mile." "Yes, I've patterned myself after the first Prestine." "Indeed? You will remember that he boasted of starting the family fortune in the plasma black market during the Third World War. It was the Second War, 4 Mile, but the hypocrites of our clan never acknowledged him. The name was Payne then." "I hadn't known. And what was your unhappy name before you changed it to 4 Mile?" "It was Prestine." "Indeed?" The basilisk smile acknowledged the hit. "You claim a relationship with our clan?" "I will claim it in time." "Of what degree?" "Let's say a blood relationship." How interesting. I detect a certain fascination for blood in you, Four-Mile. No doubt a family weakness, Prestine. You are pleased to be cynical, Prestine said, not without cynicism, but you speak the truth. We have always had a fatal weakness for blood and money. It's our vice, I admit it, and I share it. A passion for blood and money? Indeed I do, most passionately. Without mercy, without forgiveness, without hypocrisy? Without mercy, without forgiveness, without hypocrisy. Four-Mile, you are a young man after my own heart. If you do not claim a relationship with our clan, I shall be forced to adopt you. You're too late, Prestine. I have already adopted you. Prestine took Foyle's arm. You must be presented to my daughter, Lady Olivia. Will you allow me? They crossed the reception hall. Triumph surged within Foyle. He doesn't know. He'll never know. Then doubt came. But I'll never know if he does know. He's crucible steel. He could teach me a thing or two about control. Acquaintances hailed Four-Mile. Wonderful deception you worked in Shanghai. Marvelous carnival in Rome, wasn't it? Did you hear about the burning man who appeared on the Spanish stairs? We looked for you in London. What a heavenly entrance that was, Harry Sharon Williams called. Outdid us all, Four-Mile. Made us look like a pack of damned pikers. You forget yourself, Harry, Prestine said coldly. You know I permit no profanity in my home. Sorry, Prestine. Where's the circus now, Four-Mile? I don't know, Foyle said. Just a moment. A crowd gathered, grinning in anticipation of the latest Four-Mile folly. He took out a platinum watch and snapped open the case. The face of a valet appeared on the dial. Ah, whatever your name is, where are we staying just now? The answer was tiny and tinny. You gave orders to make New York your permanent residence, Four-Mile. Oh, did I? And? We bought St. Patrick's Cathedral, Four-Mile. And where is that? Old St. Patrick's, Four-Mile, on 5th Avenue and what was formerly 50th Street. We've pitched the camp inside. Thank you. Four-Mile closed the Platinum Hunter. My address is Old St. Patrick's, New York. There's one thing to be said for the outlawed religions. At least they built churches big enough to house a circus. Olivia Prestine was seated on a dais, surrounded by admirers. She was a snow maiden, an ice princess with coral eyes and coral lips, imperious, mysterious, unattainable. Foyle looked at her once and lowered his eyes in confusion before the blind gaze that could only see him as electromagnetic waves and infrared light. His heart began to beat faster. Don't be a fool, he thought desperately. Control yourself. Stop dreaming. This can be dangerous. He was introduced, was addressed in a husky, silvery voice, was given a cool, slim hand, but the hand seemed to explode within him with an electric shock. It was almost a start of mutual recognition, almost a joining of emotional impact. This is insane. She's a symbol, the dream princess, the unattainable. Control! He was fighting so hard that he scarcely realized he had been dismissed, graciously and indifferently. He could not believe it. He stood, gaping like a lout. What? Are you still here, Four-Mile? I couldn't believe I'd been dismissed, Lady Olivia. Hardly that, but I'm afraid you are in the way of my friends. I'm not used to being dismissed. No, all wrong. At least by someone I'd like to count as a friend. Don't be tedious, Four-Mile. Do step down. How have I offended you? Offended me? Now you're being ridiculous. Excuse me. Lady Olivia. Christ, can't I say anything right? Where's Robin? Can we start again, please? If you're trying to be gauche, Four-Mile, you're succeeding admirably. Your hand again, please. Thank you. I'm Four-Mile of Ceres. All right, she laughed. I'll concede you're a clown. Now do step down. I'm sure you can find someone to amuse. What's happened this time? Really, sir, are you trying to make me angry? No. Yes, I am. I'm trying to touch you, somehow cut through the ice. The first time our hands clasped was violent. Now it's nothing. What happened? Four-Mile, Olivia said wearily. I'll concede that you're amusing, original, witty, fascinating, anything, if you will only go away. He stumbled off the dais. Bitch. No, she's the dream just as I dreamed her. The icy pinnacle to be stormed and taken, to lay siege, invade, ravish, forced to her knees. He came face to face with Saul Dagenham. He stood paralyzed, coercing blood and bowels. Ah, Four-Mile, Prestine said. This is Saul Dagenham. He can only give us 30 minutes, and he insisted on spending one of them with you.
Does he now? Did he send for Dagenham to make sure? Attack. Toujours. Audace. What happened to your face, Dagenham?
What happened to your face, Dagenham? Floimel asked with detached curiosity. The death's head smiled, and I thought I was famous. Radiation poisoning. I'm hot. Time was when they said, hotter than a pistol. Now they say, hotter than Dagenham. The deadly eyes raked Foyle. What's behind that circus of yours? A passion for notoriety. I'm an old hand at camouflage myself. I recognize the signs. What's your larceny? Tid Dillinger tell Capone? Foyle smiled back, beginning to relax, restraining his triumph. I've outfaced them both. You look happier, Dagenham. Instantly, he realized the slip. Dagenham picked it up in a flash. Happier than when? Where did we meet before? Not happier than when, happier than me. Foyle turned to Prestine. I've fallen desperately in love with Lady Olivia. Saul, your half hour's up. Dagenham and Prestine on either side of Foyle turned. A tall woman approached, stately in an emerald evening gown, her red hair gleaming. It was Gisbella McQueen. Their glances met. Before the shock could seethe into his face, Foyle turned, ran 6 steps to the first door he saw, opened it, and darted through. The door slammed behind him. He was in a short, blind corridor. There was a click, a pause, and then a canned voice spoke courteously. You have invaded a private portion of this residence. Please retire. Foyle gasped and struggled with himself. You have invaded a private portion of this residence. Please retire.
I never knew. Thought she was killed out there. She recognized me.
You have invaded a private portion of this residence. Please retire.
I'm finished. She'll never forgive me. Must be telling Dagenham and Prestine now.
The door from the reception hall opened, and for a moment Foyle thought he saw his flaming image. Then he realized he was looking at Gisbella's flaming hair. She made no move, just stood and smiled at him in furious triumph. He straightened. By God, I won't go down whining. Without haste, Foyle sauntered out of the corridor, took Gisbella's arm, and led her back to the reception hall. He never bothered to look round for Dagenham or Prestine. They would present themselves with force and arms in due course. He smiled at Gisbella. She smiled back, still in triumph.
Thanks for running away, Gully. I never dreamed it could be so satisfying.
Running away, my dear Gis?
Well, I can't tell you how lovely you're looking tonight. You've come a long way from Rothe Martel, haven't we?
Foyle motioned to the ballroom.
Dance?
Her eyes widened in surprise at his composure. She permitted him to escort her to the ballroom and take her in his arms.
By the way, Giz, how did you manage to keep out of Rothe Martel?
Dagenham arranged it.
So you dance now, Gully?
I dance, speak 4 languages miserably, study science and philosophy, write pitiful poetry, blow myself up with idiotic experience, fence like a fool, box like a buffoon. In short, I'm the notorious 4 Mile of Ceres.
No longer Gully Foyle?
Only to you, dear, and whoever you've told.
Just Dagenham. Are you sorry I blew your secret?
Couldn't help yourself any more than I could.
No, I couldn't. Your name just popped out at me. What would you have paid me to keep my mouth shut?
Don't be a fool, Giz. This accident's going to earn you about 17,980,000 credits.
What do you mean?
I told you I'd give you whatever was left over after I finished Vortiga.
You finished Vortiga? She said in surprise.
No, dear. You've finished me, but I'll keep my promise. She laughed.
Generous, Gully Foyle. Be real generous, Gully. Make a run for it. Entertain me a little.
Squealing like a rat, I don't know how, Giz. I'm trained for hunting, nothing else.
And I killed the tiger. Give me one satisfaction, Gully. Say you were close to Vortiga. I ruined you when you were half a step from the finish, yes?
I wish I could, Giz, but I can't. I'm nowhere. I was trying to pick up another lead here tonight.
Poor Gully. Maybe I can help you out with this jam. I can say, that I made a mistake, or a joke, that you really aren't Gully Foyle. I know how to confuse Saul. I can do it, Gully, if you still love me.
He looked down at her and shook his head. It's never been love between us, Giz. You know that. I'm too one-tracked to be anything but a hunter.
Too one-tracked to be anything but a fool.
What did you mean, Giz? Dagenham arranged to keep you out of Rothe Martel? You know how to confuse Saul Dagenham? What have you got to do with him?
I work for him. I'm one of his couriers.
You mean he's blackmailing you?
threatening to send you back if you don't. No, we hit it off the minute we met. He started off capturing me. I ended up capturing him.
How do you mean?
Can't you guess? He stared at her. Her eyes were veiled, but he understood. Yes, with him? Yes, but how? There are precautions. I don't want to talk about it, Gully.
Sorry. He's a long time returning.
Returning?
Dagenham, with his army.
Oh, yes, of course. Chisbell laughed again, then spoke in a low, furious tone. You don't know what a tightrope you've been walking, Gully. If you'd begged or bribed or tried to romance me, by God, I've had ruined you. I've had told the world who you were, screamed it from the housetops.
What are you talking about?
Saul isn't returning. He doesn't know. You can go to hell on your own.
I don't believe you.
Do you think it would take him this long to get you, Saul Dagenham?
But why didn't you tell him, after the way I ran out on you?
Because I don't want him going to hell with you. I'm not talking about Vorga. I mean something else. Pyre. That's why they hunted you. That's what they're after. 20 pounds of pyre. What's that? When you got the safe open, was there a small box in it, made of ILI 41, inert lead isotope?
Yes.
What was inside the ILI box?
20 slugs that looked like compressed iodine crystals.
What did you do with the slugs?
Sent 2 out for analysis. No one could find out what they were. I'm trying to run analysis on a third of my lab, when I'm not conning for the public.
Oh,
You are you?
why?
I'm growing up, Jizz, Foyle said gently. It didn't take much to figure out that was what Prestine and Dagenham were after.
Where have you got the rest of the slugs?
In a safe place.
They're not safe. They can't ever be safe. I don't know what pyre is, but I know it's the road to hell, and I don't want Saul walking it. You love him that much? I respect him that much. He's the first man that ever showed me an excuse for the double standard. Chiz, what is pyre? You know. I've guessed. I've pieced together the hints I've heard. I've got an idea, and I could tell you, Gully, but I won't. The fury in her face was luminous. I'm running out on you this time. I'm leaving you to hang helpless in the dark. See what it feels like, boy. Enjoy. She broke away from him and swept across the ballroom. At that moment, the first bombs fell.